Are you sitting comfortably?
Oh, and welcome to
hello.
another episode of Are You Sitting Comfortably on East London Radio. We are Scott and Roo.
We are.
I'm the Roo one.
I'm the Scott one, then,
you're
am
the
I?
Scott one,
Excellent.
yes. How are you today, Scott?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, I'm feeling all perky.
Perky, good.
Perky.
Yes,
It's a good
so
word.
am I. It's got that sort of refreshing cold breeze outside. January is here.
The
Summer's
radiators
finally
in the
over.
studio aren't working properly. It's a little it's brisk.
Can't feel our fingers or our genitals. It's all...
I can't feel your genitals. Not from here.
So we've seen some movies.
We
haven't
have, which is a good thing.
Before we talk about filmage, the filmage that we've seen,
Films?
because all we talk about is filmage.
Yes. Well, that and knob
we-
occasionally.
Knob occasionally. Yes. You saw a film and I saw a film. We saw different films
We
this
did,
week because
yes.
we fell out and we refused to sit next to one another in the
Yes.
same cinema. So you saw The Hateful
One
Eight.
too many sips of your Tango Ice Blast.
Yeah.
You didn't want me in the room anymore.
It's just enough. I had enough. Tango Ice Blast. Mix the flavours up. Oh, it's incredible. Especially now they've got the new lemony one.
Anyway.
And a blood orange one as well.
Oh,
You need
that
to give that a
sounds
go.
horrible.
No, it's much nicer than you think.
Anyway, focus.
Yes.
Hateful Eight. I saw the Hateful Eight.
You saw The Hateful
The
Eight.
Hateful Eight,
You
as
saw
they
it for
say.
3 hours.
I did, for 3 hours and 6 of your Earth minutes.
Yes. Time, I think, I could probably have better spent.
I was a bit grumpy that after leaving work and getting to the cinema for 7:30,
that's your evening gone.
nothing else. I got home and I went straight to bed. It was a little bit frustrating, but
It could have been worse.
it could have been worse. I had a
could.
really comfy seat, so that was nice.
Oh,
And
did you get one of the special leather ones from
Yes,
Cineworld?
I accidentally forgot my my row and seat number and just sat in one that looked nice, and it
As you do.
just happened to be one of the expensive ones that I hadn't paid for, but no one told me off, so it was fine.
And I saw...
What did you see?
What did I see?
What did you see?
I saw Creed.
Oh, you did.
The continuation of the Rocky series.
Yeah.
Which I've not seen any other films of.
Brilliant.
But I realised I didn't need to. But more on that later, because we've got some movie news.
Have we?
Scott. We do. We have
Excellent.
some movie news.
Lay it on me.
Actually, before we do movie news,
Yes.
would you like to know our question for today? You know the question.
Well, I imagine the question's the same as always. It's,
what would that be?
Who said that?
Who said this?
I'm shutting your butt down.
Who said?
Ooh.
I'm shutting your butt down.
Someone's
Ooh.
shutting my butt down.
Yes.
Good lord.
I'm shutting your butt down.
Okay, wow.
What would be the reverse of that?
I'm opening your butt up? That'd be...
No, because shutting down. Shutting down is like you'd be. How do you start a computer?
Boot it up.
Yes, I'd be booting your ass up.
Oh.
Your backside. No, that's fine, isn't it? Arse
What?
on the radio.
I don't hope so. You said it twice now. Shall
Yeah,
I say it as well?
I think. It's fine now.
Arse.
Anyway, arse. Right, movie news. Yes, we've got some movie news. If you know the answer, by the way, to who said,
I'm shutting your butt down.
you can tweet us at ELR Comfortably on Twitter.
Or use the Facebook page,
Yes, of course.
facebook.com/ELR comfortably.
Deadpool. How are you feeling about Deadpool?
I'm still a bit unsure because Ryan Reynolds is irritating.
But I think the whole thing is meant to be irritating.
Yeah.
The marketing campaign, for example, with the emoji billboard.
Yes.
The skull, the poo, and the L.
Skull poople.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yes.
It's irritating,
It
isn't it?
is. The launch day, of course, is February 14th for this film.
Valentine's.
Have you seen the
Yes.
Valentine's themed poster? That
It's
they-
meant to
they're
be a very
putting out?
romantic movie, isn't
Yeah,
it?
they've made it look all. There's nothing they wouldn't do for love.
It's a bit
kind of thing.
sexist, though, making the assumption that women know nothing of comics or superheroes.
Well, I think it's less. Well, it's perhaps a bit sexist, assuming that poster was targeted at women.
Yes,
men can
that's
enjoy
true.
men can enjoy love stories as much as women can enjoy comics.
It's sexist in every which way, but
Yes,
it's
and
funny.
I think with this being Deadpool, he's pretty much out to amuse and annoy as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't take it too much to heart, really.
I was thinking it looks a bit like a superhero made, especially for kids who grew up watching The Mask.
Yes, I
It's
think it does
got
have
that
that
sort
kind
of
of
Cheeky, like
breaking the fourth wall, kind
Yeah.
of.
And when you were a kid
shizzle.
watching The Mask, didn't you feel as though you were kind of in on some jokes that were a bit too adult for your child brain, but you didn't necessarily get everything. Like, for instance, when The Mask was putting together some balloons into animal shapes,
yes.
and he pulls out a condom. I had no idea what that was when I was a child, but there was lots of that in The Mask. It was quite adult content for such a cartoon film.
Chicky boom, chicky boom.
It was precisely. And Deadpool looks to be sort of
along the same lines.
Yeah,
I think so. I think it's going to have a lot of really silly stuff. And a lot of fun stuff. And I think it's one of those films that I don't think could have been made 10 years ago, because I think humour has changed in the last 10 years to make it more...
It has.
Do you know what I mean?
I think that's with Twitter and things, humour's become a bit more immediate.
And a bit more ironic, and a bit more meta.
Yeah.
And I'm cautiously looking forward to Deadpool. I don't want to get my hopes up because
it's not it's by Sony, isn't it? This is a Marvel one by Sony. It's not in the safe hands of
the Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
No, yes.
So it could go either way. It could go Fantastic Four, or it could be a nice surprise like Ant-Man. But again, that was Marvel, not Sony Marvel. So
but we'll see. So yes, that's coming up, and I am looking forward to it a little bit. Not a huge amount, but enough.
Something else looks quite exciting.
What else looks quite exciting?
Well, Secret sequel by J.J. Abrams.
Not really secret. I think he did announce it.
Did he?
And is it actually a sequel? We don't know what it is.
Well, it looks very Cloverfieldy. It's 10 Cloverfield Lane. There's lots of people in a bunker.
Yes.
And they're all going, "Oh, there's something outside. Gonna get us. Don't open the door." And it's going, making the same noises as Cloverfield.
Is that what the massive Cloverfield monster says?
Yeah.
And yet it still managed to strike terror into the hearts of the douche with the camera in the... I hated that man. I was really annoyed he made it almost all the way to the end. Spoilers.
Well, I just don't think that in that scenario where there is an enormous alien monster thing smashing your city to bits, you would not bother trying to keep it in frame and stuff, would you, and trying to film it? Although, I suppose a lot of it wasn't in frame, and that was the idea. It was the tease. Yeah.
But no, just that guy annoyed the hell out of me. So I hope there's not it's not going to be like his brother or something. His brother was in the film.
No, but it looks like a good cast.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who's in it? Some
geezer.
people. Okay.
Who was it that played Fred Flintstone?
Dan Goodman.
Dan Goodman.
Was it Dan Goodman?
Dan Goodman. Let
John
me have a look on
John
the
Goodman.
Google.
He was, I'm thinking Dan from Roseanne. Was it John Goodman?
John
No.
Goodman.
Isn't he dead? I thought he was
He's
dead.
not dead.
Oh, good. Well done, John Goodman, for not being dead.
He's
Good for
63.
him. Oh, excellent. He's got another 6 years.
Judging by the look of things.
Speaking of,
we
should talk about that.
We've had a loss.
We've had 2 losses this week. It's
Yes.
been a hard week.
Would you like to?
Well, first, David Bowie went. David Bowie? David Bowie. Him.
I would say Bowie.
Well, him. Anyway.
But then I say it all wrong. I say Beyonce.
You do, but that just sounds wrong. It's weird. Anyway, we lost David Bowie, which was a big shame. I wasn't really huge on his... obviously, I'm aware of his music. I wasn't a huge David Bowie fan, like the odd thing like Starman and stuff like that. They were around. They were part of culture. I knew who he was. I enjoyed his...
I can certainly appreciate the impact he's had on
and
people.
His chameleonic... look and feel was always there, and something that was kind of cool. And now he's gone, which is very sad. And then 2 days later, followed by Alan Rickman.
Yeah, same age.
Who was
very bizarre. 69.
Who was like actually, he had a much bigger effect on my kind of growing up. I remember the first film I saw him with him in would have been Truly Madly Deeply, because my mum fancied him a little bit. And he had a beard, and it was a love story, and it was very sad.
Well, you see, I'm not as familiar with the breadth of his work as you, but I did obviously appreciate his talent in Harry Potter, and I will always love Marvin. Is it Marvin? Marvin,
yes.
The robot from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
the paranoid android. Yeah. He did both of those very, very well, and I think. Anyone who's not familiar with his work should go out and have a look at some stuff. He's done some brilliant comedy stuff. Galaxy Quest, for example, is absolutely hilarious. He was the angel Metatron in Dogma. We posted the clip on Facebook and Twitter over the week, so on the day he died. So have a look at that if you haven't already. He plays this brilliantly bitchy angel. It's fantastic. Who likes tequila but isn't allowed to drink. And then he's done some heavier stuff as well. He's a stage actor as well, apparently.
Yes,
of
course.
So much stuff. He did a...
he's one of our best, isn't he?
Yeah, he was. There was... I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't Pride and Prejudice, but it was a similar kind of period thing where he plays a very proper gentleman who is kind of the arranged... I think, if I remember rightly, he's the arranged love interest for the main character who falls in love with someone else. And he does this whole thing in this wonderfully... pained and wounded yet very was poised, kind of.
Right.
Oh, I see.
He was good at that.
Yeah, very.
I think what you're saying is that you're finding it very hard to recall an instance where his performance was not worth watching.
Exactly, and even on films like Love Actually, which
people say this about Love Actually, but I think it's all right.
Well, I think
it goes on and on and on.
It does. And if you take any of those storylines separately, none of them really work. They're all a bit weird. But of all of them, his and Emma Thompson.
Yeah,
his was the one.
Was it?
Yeah, Emma Thompson, his wife. Was Emma Thompson, not the slutty office secretary tart woman that he ended up with, but his wife was Emma Thompson, and it was a lovely, lovely.
Yes, she was.
It was that was my favourite of those stories. Anyway, yes, he's gone, and he was amazing. Look up at some of his stuff because he's brilliant.
Okay, and in memory, we're going to play Severus and Lily by the brilliant Alexander Desplat. I'm sure there's a better way of saying
probably
that.
Desplat.
Desplat.
Yeah,
but it's Desplat. On the page, it's Desplat. So that's how I'm going
lay
with.
it on us. Come on, bring it on.
From Harry Potter.
Yeah,
here we go. It's nice and peaceful. Makes me want to go back to the dark recesses of Hogwarts and do some wizarding type things in the dark. Or in the light.
Okay.
Well, we're going to be able to do that with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I guess.
Yes.
So yes, that was Severus and Lily by Alexander Desplat. But let's look at now.
Yes. What about now?
An Oscar-nominated movie called The Hateful Eight, which you spent 3 hours of your life watching earlier this week.
I did.
Are you prepared?
No. God, no.
To give us, please, 30 seconds worth of what The Hateful Eight is all about.
Yes.
Okay. Any minute now.
Ooh. The Hateful Eight is apparently Quentin Tarantino's 8th film. It's not, but let's just skip over that and move on. It is based in Wyoming. In the middle of the freezing cold, there's a massive blizzard coming, and 8 people are trapped in a house, well, kind of place, together, just to sit out the blizzard. And they all have interesting backstories and entwined stories and all this kind of thing, and it's all about how that all fits together and who is telling the truth about who they are and who's lying and what's happening, and it's all very interesting.
It's like you left something in your pants there at the end.
Excuse me?
Oh, pardon me.
Well, that's that. There we go. That was what was in my pants.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was about.
A little drop of a folder there.
Oh, well, anyway.
So, yes, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Now dwell on it.
All right, then, I will.
Was it worth 3 hours? Did it need to be 3 hours?
I went in...
He's done, apparently, according to you, more than 8 movies. So surely by now he's gathered what needs to be in there and what doesn't. Was it all killer and no filler, or
how did
not?
It go?
Yeah.
It starts off slow, which I think anyone who's seen it will tell you. It starts off a bit slow.
Well, how slow is slow? Well, like the first hour is slow?
Well, the first half hour. It takes them half an hour to get to the place where...
Good Lord!
Where the thing starts. But that's not like half an hour of just watching people... watching a carriage roll down a road. There is talking and there's story and exposition and stuff in there anyway. So, yeah, it starts off slow, but it gets a lot. It's and this is what annoyed me about it, is that I went in already annoyed with it having taken up my entire evening, and then, much to my further annoyance, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, like from start to finish, it was pretty good.
You were lost in a cinematic land.
I mean, I'm sure you could chop stuff out of it and cut it down, and you'd push to make it 2 hours, but you could make it 2 hours and 2.5 hours easily without losing anything. But there's a difference between a baggy and unfocused story and a good story well told.
So you think it was more craft and finesse and that aided the film rather than baggy pointless.
Exactly, yes. It was. This is the thing. It was really actually quite good. I'm not a huge Tarantino fan. I enjoyed Pulp Fiction the most.
Yeah, I think everybody enjoyed Pulp Fiction, didn't they?
Reservoir Dogs was alright, left me a little bit cold, but I enjoyed it for the story and the way it all unfolded. Since then, I've not really been a big fan, to be honest, and to the point where I didn't even bother to see Django Unchained, which I know is bad. I know that's bad, but I was just like, eh. And it's on my list. I want to see it. I'll get around to it. But
yeah, do.
But
I mean, it's nothing incredible, mind blowing or anything, but it's a bit of fun.
No,
and Oberhauser.
Oh yeah,
what's his name?
Christoph Waltz.
That one. He is very good in Django.
Ah.
He, honestly, opened my eyes to him as a brilliant actor.
Cool.
That movie.
Well, this one has elements of kind of in the second half. It becomes almost an Agatha Christie kind of novel. Everyone has their own backstory and their own stuff going on, and it's all about how they fit together and if they fit together and who's lying and who's telling the truth. And it's really interesting. It's a great cast. Of course, Samuel L. Jackson steals the show, as you would expect, and he's got one of his trademark
catchphrases.
No, not catchphrase so much as just monologue. He's got one of his speeches that really kind of, and I can imagine people going to drama school in September who will use that as an audition piece for going in there. And it's very good.
You mean he monologues for the middle hour, does he?
Yes, just for an hour. But I'm fine with that because it's Samuel L. Jackson. No, but he does have a good speech. It's memorable.
Was there an intermission?
There
Did
was.
It give you
yes,
a break?
I got the lights came up and there was intermission 10 minutes on the screen and then pictures of beer bottles and bottles of pop and popcorn and things. So in fact more than that, a man with a trolley came into the cinema.
Little ice cream spatulas with the bubble gum in the bottom.
Not so much. But he did have a trolley with. It was closer.
Are you saying that this was just a man who came to watch the movie?
No.
The trolley, lots of plastic bags.
No,
lady in the van styly.
No, no. This was an employee of VU Cinemas in Islington where I saw it. I saw it on the extreme screen, the big one, the really big one.
Okay, because they call it the extreme.
Yeah, it's VU Extreme.
Is that because they suspend you while watching, or are you allowed to sit down?
I was allowed to sit down. I sat on a comfy chair. But it is one of those. It's like the big massive screen, which is what the show is supposed to be shown in because it's big,
8K
massive.
or something, isn't it?
Something stupid, but
I don't even know what these things mean now.
It looked pretty, I'll tell you that. But I don't know whether it needed to be.
Surely too pretty.
I think this is one of those things. This I think is. I'm determined to dislike this film for something.
Feels like a stupid thing to say. Too pretty. But I remember seeing Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull displayed on one of these ultra high definition TVs in a Curry's PC World or whatever, and it looked like an ITV drama. You know, that really sort of crisp that you get on television. It just didn't look like a big budget Hollywood film, and it took me right out of it.
No, yes.
That's why I used to like watching movies without my glasses on.
So you could.
It kind of added a bit of a fog. It allowed me to suspend my disbelief a little better.
All right then.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. It's very pretty. But I think this is one of those things where Quentin Tarantino can get away with it because no one's going to tell him not to. So he shot it on some vague, wanky format that most people won't have access to, and so.
Cineworld have refused to play it, haven't they?
I wondered why I couldn't get to see it with my unlimited card.
Well, because Odeon decided to do a little deal with them and to show it exclusively initially in the special format. And Cineworld said, well, if you're going to do underhand deals with Odeon, we're not interested in your movie, Quentin Tarantino, which is quite a bold move of them, isn't it?
It is a little. I mean, as this was a film that I actually had to pay to go and see as opposed to just on my limited card, it was only 20 quid.
Yeah, but it's 3 hours, so you got your money's worth.
Yeah, I did. When I think it's 20 quid for that, or
and you got a man with a trolley.
You got a man with a trolley. I could have spent the same amount of money seeing a Transformers movie in that cinema, and I just think, Jesus, that's a lot of money to be bored for 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel strongly for people who pay to see movies and they end up watching something like The Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah,
and but £20 gone.
Exactly.
Especially if you get popcorn.
I didn't get any sweets or anything. It was just I went to Nando's beforehand and had a chicken, so I wouldn't get hungry because then it was 3 hours and I'd be in there a long time. Anyway, my point was it was worth the money.
I'm glad.
I actually really enjoyed it, and that annoyed me because I was looking forward to having a reason to hate it, and I didn't because it was really good. So yeah,
the score you may be interested to know by Ennio Morricone.
That guy
has been nominated for an Oscar for best score,
which I can understand. It was very, very good. Do you know?
It sounds good. And what you were saying about how it turns a bit Agatha Christie, I was having a listen to the score independently from the film. Obviously, I haven't seen it, but the score kind of told me that. It kind of felt a bit sort of.
It's got
pondery in places.
It's got flashbacks. It's got little asides. It's got all sorts of stuff that you need to build up this brilliant narrative, and it is very, very well done. I'd say, it's a bit early to be saying this, but so far, it's one of my favourite films of 2016.
Which, surely a film that long cannot be one of the best films of the year in the end.
Well,
because people don't have the
days.
patience. I would need the Wii. I'd need a Wii.
You need the Wii.
Yeah.
Well, I did choose my seat carefully. I was like on an aisle near the front, so I could nip out the door if I needed a Wii. Because I forgot to check whether there was an interval, but there was, so it was alright. Anyway,
we're past that. I remember when I was watching Lawrence of Arabia, I couldn't make it through the interval.
Good
I thought I can't carry on. It was just shots of the desert.
Yes.
Huge long shots. It was just sand.
Yeah.
What was I meant to do?
Well, this one at least had things happening. It wasn't just massive shots of really pretty snowy landscape.
Well, but I think Lawrence of Arabia back then was applauded because people obviously, I suppose, were less able to go and see the desert for themselves. So watching it on the big screen was like, wow, look at the desert. I want more shots of the desert. And then after 3 hours of that, you're still going, wow, I can't believe I just saw the desert in the cinema. This is the future.
And it really is the future. And then we got stuff like Prometheus, which is dead pretty but doesn't make any sense, and the story's awful. But
David was inspired by the character in Lawrence of Arabia.
Ah, yes, he was.
Yeah.
That's a
big
good
things have
point.
small beginnings.
They do. Speaking of soundtracks with Oscar nominations, do you know another film that can now call itself Oscar nominated because its soundtrack is nominated? Think of the worst film from last year. I didn't see it.
The worst film from last year.
Oh, maybe was it last year? Yeah, early last year.
Oh, I know what you're gonna. Oh, early last year.
Early last year. Not one we've seen. Not one we would. It was beneath us to review.
Oh, I don't know.
50 Shades of Grey is an Oscar-nominated movie because
but it's
of its
also
soundtrack.
up for a Razzie, Razzle,
as it should be. It's up for all the Razzies.
Snazzle, Snazzy,
Razzie.
Dazzle.
It's up for worst actor, worst actress, worst screenplay, and something else.
and an Oscar.
And an Oscar
Because
for the soundtrack.
Danny Elfman did the soundtrack.
Was
I
it Danny
suppose,
Elfman?
yeah, independently from the movie, it may be fine. But,
Well, that's the point. But it does mean that 50 Shades can now call itself Oscar-nominated.
No, that's not how you judge a score in terms of the Oscars. Surely,
I don't
if you're
know.
judging a score for a movie for an Oscar, you're having to consider how it works in conjunction with the visual elements. On its own, fine, whatever. Like Jurassic World sounds good on its own, or could have been better.
Yeah.
I'll admit.
Well, is that
But
more of an Emmy then?
in conjunction with the images,
Or a Grammy?
I thought it could have been more intense.
I don't know what all the awards are.
Well, there are too many of them.
Yeah, all over the place. Anyway, we'll talk more about the Oscars a little bit later in the show.
Yes.
I think I've pretty much covered everything I wanted to. It's a great film. It's very long, but get comfy because you'll enjoy it. It's pretty. Samuel L. Jackson steals the show. The lady whose name I've forgotten.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
That's all three of those are her. Yeah, Jennifer, Jason, and Lee. She's pretty good. She gets beaten up quite a lot, which is
Well, it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. People are going to get
people are going to get beaten up.
and
You're
that's
right.
the noise they make once
Yeah.
it's happened.
Oh no, she made some worse noises than that. But and I remember there were a few questions about violence towards women when it first came out, but it's not.
Well, there's always questions about violence when it comes to Quentin Tarantino's movies.
And they are violent movies, and I wouldn't say that she undeservedly got more of it than any of the men.
Oh, good.
Does that
Well, everyone gets
I mean,
it,
we're
don't
two
they?
men talking about violence towards women, and I've just said she deserved what she got. That's probably not the best way of putting it, but watch the movie. They're all hateful. They're called the Hateful Eight,
Yes.
for a reason.
Well,
you want to punch all of them at some point.
I
So
think if you listen to all of our other shows, you'll understand that we are
awful people.
we're very morally corrupt. Yes,
Okay,
that's right.
yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. We're asking the question today: who said this?
I'm shutting your butt down.
Who is shutting whose butt down? If you know the answer, tweet us at ELR Comfortably on Twitter. Now, we're going to play a little bit of Oscar-nominated music.
From 50 Shades of Grey.
From The Hateful Eight by Ennio Morricone. It's called L'ultima diligenza di Red Rock. Oh, yes. I did that right, didn't I? I definitely got that 100%.
Absolutely perfect.
Here we go. It's got a bit of a classic Hollywood vibe to it, that music, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I was imagining people falling over in slow motion in black and white with wide eyes, shielding their face from some horror off screen.
I can see why you'd think that, but then having seen the film, I could see people getting their heads blown off and their faces punched and smashed in with the butt of a gun and stuff like that. So,
Well, things have changed.
To each his own.
We're asking the question, who said?
I'm shutting your butt down.
Tweet us at ELR Comfortably if you know the answer. We're going to talk a little bit now about Creed.
Yeah, tell me all about the movie What You Saw, which wasn't The Hateful Eight.
Which wasn't The
you and your
Hateful Eight.
Tango Ice Blasts. Tell me all about it.
I'll tell you in
Go
30
on then.
seconds. Creed is about Adonis Creed, son of Apollo Creed, who Rocky apparently beat up in one of his earlier films. Now, he has a new mum or something and wants to quit his office job and start boxing. But obviously, with a name like Creed, people are going to expect quite a lot from him because of the legacy of his father.
I see.
He has trouble living up to that potential, but he does a lot of practicing and montage-type things while Sylvester Stallone's getting old, and it's all a bit sad, and they create a bond, and in the end, he does quite well, I think.
Oh, don't spoil it. That was close. I thought you were going to spoil something then.
No. And what's wonderful about it is that it just won't end the way you anticipate, and not in a huge kind of twist fashion, but it's surprising. I was going in expecting to see a dumb boxing film. I haven't seen any of the Rocky ones. I don't know what they're about. I don't know how dumb they are. Are they dumb?
Well, I haven't seen them either, but that is the impression what I got.
Well, this
Fantastic soundtrack. though.
it's
That's
sort of emotional. It does, doesn't it?
Did it have? Yeah, did it have the? Was that in the?
I'll show you in a little bit.
Ooh.
It
Looking
went
forward to
da-da-da, like once, and you were like,
Da-da-da.
"Oh, I know that from someone."
Yeah, good.
What was I saying? Yes, it has emotional weight. There's more to it
Okay.
than just the boxing.
I'm glad.
Yeah, and there's more to it than Michael B. Jordan's sweaty torso as well.
Yeah, and this was a film that you insisted on reviewing this week, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, well, I was thinking,
Funny
after having a look at all the Oscar stuff, I was on my way to Creed thinking, why am I not watching a better movie this week? Why am I not watching something, that's considered, what would the word be? Prestigious, leading, artistic,
Haute couture.
visually and sentimental and all the rest and all the other things. But Creed...
It's got a buff black man smashing people's faces in and sweating everywhere.
Well, listen, that's the cherry on top,
All right.
but there's more to it than that. I was surprised at quite the subject matter that it turned. I'm not saying that this is Oscar stuff, although Sylvester Stallone has been nominated for
He has.
Best Supporting Role for this movie.
Yeah. Who would have thought that Sylvester Stallone playing Rocky would be nominated for an Oscar?
Well, he
That's
does very
amazing.
well. He does very well, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just as bad as those idiots who think that the new Star Wars is brilliant because perhaps they didn't watch
All those millions of idiots.
Perhaps they didn't watch the old ones. All those people who think that the new Jurassic World is brilliant or that Spectre is brilliant because they don't know, they haven't seen the masterful epics that came before that serve as nothing but the inspiration for these clip shows we're getting these days. Perhaps I'm as bad as them, and that if I was talking to somebody who had seen all the Rockies, they'd tell me, you don't know what you're watching here. This is all just ticking boxes. This is exactly what was in Rocky. That said, I haven't seen the other ones, and I would be very pleased to see a number of sequels come from Creed. Sylvester Stallone says that's what he wants to see as well, but I don't know how much longer he's got, to be honest, in the franchise. I'm not sure if he was playing older than he is, in the movie, but he seemed like he's
a bit
struggling.
frail.
Yeah.
Well, I think he would have been playing a little bit older, and he'll have been playing a little bit kind of damaged from all the fighting and stuff, whereas Sylvester Stallone is probably a little bit healthier. There's a whole story about Sylvester Stallone and Rocky, how he moved to Hollywood and wrote it and tried to get it made and ran out of money and was pretty much homeless, and eventually someone decided to have a go on it and take a chance on it, and it became the iconic film that it was, and it started his whole career. And so it's all about, I think there's a lesson there in kind of artistic
perseverance.
Yes, exactly.
Believing in your idea.
Yeah.
It's like the whole J.K. Rowling was turned down how many times before she finally got published? Yeah.
It's that there's
if
an
she
old
had packed
saying.
it in, we wouldn't have been playing Severus and Lily earlier.
No, that's true. There's one of those sayings that's a bit trite and a bit but it still holds true. It's difficult to have a last minute change of fortune unless you push your fortunes to the last minute.
Ah, well, precisely.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my little bit of wisdom for today. So tell me more about the movie.
The movie.
Yes.
Okay, so less of it revolves around boxing than you might think.
Okay.
There's a sort of a bit towards the end where you're thinking, I haven't seen any boxing happen here for for a good half hour.
Kept his top on for a whole half hour. Good Lord.
Yeah, well, there were lots of opportunities as well for
sweaty, steamy shower
moments
scenes.
where your mind might wander. For instance, when his other mum says, listen, if you want to be in someone's ring, you don't have to call me. I was thinking, well, you can call me Michael. Or when Sylvester Stallone was saying, it doesn't matter what you do in the ring, it matters what you leave there. It gets your gets your imagination going.
Good Lord.
But to be honest, I wasn't interested in boxing when I went in. And on my way out, I was thinking I really wouldn't mind punching some people in the face.
That's nice.
Not in an informal setting. I mean,
you'd want to take them out for dinner first.
I just mean with boxing gloves on in a ring, that kind of thing. And I think it's because we were shown human beings. They weren't just sort of mindless animals doing their sporty boxing.
Just lumps
stuff.
of meat pounding each other in the ring.
If you would. It was quite obvious that they weren't giving the antagonist as much attention. We were watching a lot of emotional hardships of the people that we were rooting for in the movie.
Well, that's how it works. Yeah, I mean,
but the antagonist could have been going through just as much emotional stuff. We just weren't shown it.
Well, that's it. That's the other movie. That's when you do an E.L. James and you rewrite it from the other person's point of view because you've not made enough money off it yet.
Oh yeah, that's true. We might see that. No, I don't think we will.
No.
But Creed 2, I reckon, is going to be very good.
Okay.
Creed 3, Creed 4, and so on and so forth.
Do you think this might work as a kind of generational franchise? It's just going to keep going, and after
Creed, there'll be someone else.
Well, in the same way that after Rocky dies, however many years in the future I hope that is, when Sylvester Stallone's gone, it'll become Michael B. Jordan's baby, and he'll run it up until he gets too old, and then he'll pass it on.
And then he'll be the
older
trainer.
And then the younger one will come in.
Maybe.
And there'll be like virtual robot boxing on Mars or something by that point, hopefully. But do you know what I mean?
I know what you
mean. It
mean.
could be one of those kind of just keeps going. A bit James Bondy, but not quite.
Yeah,
well,
hopefully we
not
don't
in the same way.
See a Spectre Creed. Although that might be what Creed is. I don't even know because I haven't seen the original Rockies. This is my point. I might not be the best person to be talking about this movie, but if you haven't seen any of the Rockies,
it's a bit late now.
The other Rockies, I reckon you'll be quite into this. I mean, I made it all the way to the finale, even though I really needed a wee. But you know how I go for a wee if I need to.
You do, yeah. You do often go for a wee. That's why I make sure you sit on the aisle side of me when we go to the cinema.
But this time I was thinking,
and I help you with your Tango Ice Blast because I know what your bladder's like.
I want to see how this goes. I was nervous. They were doing a tracking shot as he was going into the ring for his big finale, and I was nervous. My nails were being shredded. Yeah, I was sitting there biting my nails, thinking, how's this going to go? Which way is it going to go? I always like big sporting finales in movies because it always seems as though they're trying to force the fact that the filmmaker thinks that their finale is epic on you with the commentators. Going,
oh yeah!
Wow, what a finale!
Yeah. We've got a big crowd here tonight. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of thing.
What a twist!
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, we understand that that's what you're trying to portray in the narrative as well. Thank you.
It's all over for the main character now, John. The antagonist has almost certainly won this. There's no way he could... Oh, my God!
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and another reason, despite the Wii as well, why I feel like this caught my attention. Like, I didn't go for a wee, and the man next to me, who was very loudly slamming his hand into his popcorn packet, rustling around like nobody's business, not a care in the world or a moment's consideration for everyone else on the screen. And then afterwards, when he was eating his popcorn, he was doing all that. Oh, let's get the popcorn off my hands.
No wonder you wanted to take up boxing when you left that room.
Nudging his mate, laughing over all the sentimental bits. Despite them and my full bladder, I was still nervous for Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. Good. A good film.
Yeah,
then.
Exactly. Without them, I'd have been through the roof.
And it's not just because she wanted to marry him and kiss his face.
I will admit that that's part of it, yes.
Right.
But what I'm saying is a much smaller part in the end than I thought it would be.
Right. I see.
There's a whole lot more to the movie.
To
I was thinking that the couple in front of me, actually, the heterosexual couple, obviously the lady had been dragged along to a angry boxing film by her boyfriend. But I was thinking,
Totes mask.
If I was the boyfriend, I'd start to worry about the amount of shirtless Michael B. Jordan that was on screen. I mean, the girlfriend probably decided in the end that it wasn't such a bad deal after all.
Well, maybe the boyfriend's working through some stuff. Maybe Or maybe the
that's a
girlfriend
good
dragged
point.
him along. She was like, "Oh, I want to get a bit of this. It's a boxing movie. He'll come."
Yes, that's true. It could be the other way around. Yeah, no, it's me being short-sighted. We're asking the question, who said this?
I'm shutting your butt down.
Who's shutting whose butt down?
I'm shutting your butt down.
must know.
I
You
don't
must
know. Oh,
know.
maybe I do.
I'm shutting your butt down.
I made the mistake once of guessing right at the beginning of the show
And then you got it
getting
right.
it right. So I
And you
keep quiet
ruined
now.
the show for everyone.
Sorry, everyone.
What are we playing now? Oh, I know what we're
Ooh.
playing now.
Ooh.
And we'll reveal the answer to who said that then afterwards. But you
Yes.
were asking if they played
If it had a callback to
the original.
da-da-da, da-da-da. Yeah.
So, are you ready for by Ludwig Göransson?
Did he do the original? Do you know? You won't know.
I should probably look into that.
Oh, we'll have a look. While
You're
playing.
a Creed. There's your callback music,
There wasn't there?
but
I
also
like that.
blended with some new stuff.
Yeah, it's the best kind of sequel.
No, the geezer who did that did not do the original Rocky thing. But I think he did a good job of emulating its passion.
He did.
In fact, the old one, if you go back and listen to it, sounds surprisingly sort of synthy.
Really?
It doesn't sound too orchestral. You might remember it. Obviously, it's been redone and redone, but yeah, I liked it. The music really added to the intensity of the fight scenes as well.
Good. I'm glad.
Have you guessed who said?
I'm shutting your butt down.
Go on then, tell me.
It's Quentin Tarantino.
Of course it is.
In a very awkward interview, as usual, with Christian Guru Murphy
Right.
for Channel 4.
I don't want to talk about what you want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the implications of violence. And the reason I don't want to talk about it is I've said everything I have to say about it. If anyone cares what I have to say about it, they can Google me. And they can look for 20 years what I have to say about it. I haven't changed my opinion one iota.
No, but you haven't fleshed it out. That's the
I
only
it's
reason.
not my job to flesh it out.
No, it's my job to try and ask you to.
And
That's
I'm
all,
shutting your butt down.
And that's entirely your. That's entirely
This
your.
is a
your
commercial
right.
from my movie.
Well, it's my job to ask you why you think that.
And I'm
because you're very
saying
influential.
no. And I'm shutting you down.
Poor Christian Guru Murphy.
He
Although
does
he should,
get the sticky end of a stick quite a lot of times.
I think he just needs a bit more rehearsal before he goes in and just plows away at these sort of these unplanned questions. Or they sound a bit sort of off the cuff, don't they?
Yes.
And when you're dealing with people like Quentin Tarantino, you need to be a bit more. What's the word? You need to seduce him into giving you the answers.
Yeah.
So you can't just
blur them
outright.
out.
Yeah.
Same with Richard Ayoade. There was a wonderfully awkward and impressive chat with Richard Ayoade when I think he was promoting his film Submarine,
Which I haven't seen.
It's
I should see it. I've been told it's very good.
Yeah. It's all right. Anyway, and yeah, he
Epic review there.
yeah, it's all right. But yeah, and he does the same thing. He just doesn't want to play, and just kind of like calls the whole thing out. It's quite entertaining in a kind of way. Anyway, yes, brilliant. So that's who said that. We should talk about.
Well,
Oscars.
do you know what he's talking about there?
Violence and.
Well, yeah, but Django Unchained, which is set in the same universe as the Hateful Eight.
Is, yes.
Interestingly.
But also there's a lot of N-word in this
But
one.
there always is, isn't
yes,
there?
I wouldn't clutch at your
In
pearls too
Django,
much.
there was a lot of that as
Well,
well.
there is, because that's a
I was a
slave
bit
movie.
like, come on, is every single one of these necessary?
Well, then at the same time, I think it's the same as. I mean, if Samuel L. Jackson doesn't mind that word, then I've no reason to mind that word. I won't use it because so much white guy guilt. But he finds it very, very entertaining to whenever. Did you see the interview with him?
No.
I think this was for Django actually as well. An interviewer, like a white guy, interviewed him and was like, "There's a lot of the N word in this film. How do you feel about that?"
Yeah.
And Samuel Jackson said, "Which N word?" And he said, "The N words. I don't know what you're talking. Which N word? You'll have to say it. Say it. Say it."
And what did he say?
He just like squirmed his way through. Like, can you imagine being sat on the other side of
Samuel L. Jackson
staring you down, saying "Say the N word"? I don't think I couldn't do it.
No, I would shut his butt down.
Quite. Anyway, so yes, but then
what upset me about Django Unchained with that is fine, whatever. But it was the audience's reaction to it more than anything.
Oh, the pearl clutching and all that.
No, the giggling.
Oh, I see.
I'm not sure people know how to react to it in any other way, I guess. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of people finding it amusing, and I was thinking, I don't know if that's because as a society it's all a bit awkward and we don't know what to do with it, or if it's just in overuse. And actually, if it was a little more subtle, we wouldn't we wouldn't get so flabbergasted at its use.
Perhaps. I don't know. Talking of people of colour,
yes.
The Oscars this year, there aren't any.
Oh.
Very, very few people of colour nominated for any Oscars
Well, it's
this
interesting
year.
because women are saying it's a great year for women in film.
Well...
but is that at the?
Well, it's a great year for
at the
white women in
expense
film.
Yes.
Maybe it's incremental steps. We start off with white women, and then we move into all the other ethnic groups.
Shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't, but it is, because Hollywood
is run by old white men.
Yes, quite. Which is presumably why the Danish Girl didn't get a look in anywhere.
It did, didn't it?
Did it?
Yes.
What did it get?
Isn't it like up for Best Picture or something? And Eddie Redmayne, I mean, he's a bloke.
Eddie Redmayne's always up for stuff. I didn't think he was.
No, it's not. Sorry, no. Best Picture is Bridge of Spies, which we overlooked last year. Brooklyn, which to me looked like an ITV drama. But
so many people have said it's good. People whose opinions I respect, not just like...
Perhaps we should check it out.
Old women. Yeah.
Mad Max, Room, I do want to see Room.
Yes,
The Big Short looks good as well. Spotlight, I know nothing of. The Martian, I was surprised to see there. And The Revenant, which I may watch this week, hopefully, provided it isn't 3 hours long.
Interestingly about The Martian, that was shuffled around at I think it was the Emmys or the Golden Globes, one or the other, moved it from Best Picture to Best Comedy to give it a nod, because they had too many in the best...
The best comedy for The Martian?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it was amusing, but...
Yeah, that was what everyone's response was. It was like, come on. But I
wasn't rolling around clutching my...
It wasn't like he was a stand-up on Mars. It was a story. But
although I did think its use of canned laughter was bizarre.
Yes, that was... Anyway. But yeah, no, so the Danish Girl doesn't get its nose in the door. Poor Eddie Redmayne, which is a shame.
Although but he's all right with his
He's already won all of the awards. I think he's got all of them. Him and Tiddles have both won everything. I mean, Tiddles won loads of awards for that's Tom Hiddleston, to anyone who doesn't know my nickname. The
nickname he gives his laminate he keeps under his pillow, Tiddles.
Yeah, Tiddles.
Because he tiddles all over it at night.
That's disgusting. Shall we end the show?
Yes, I think so.
I don't know where we're going to go from
that bombshell. And one more time.
What?
Seeing as it's the last time we can. Here we go.
Turn to page 394.
Oh, turn to page
394.
Goodbye, Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
We loved you.
It's got resonance there. Is that the word I'm looking for?
That is. It makes me tingle every time. And
tingly sound clip there. We shall upload it independently so you can loop it.
That might be illegal. But
okay. Right, so this is the end of the show. We'll see you next week for more movie madness.
We will, and if you're listening on the internet or any of our podcasts, please feel free to hit the subscribe, share them with your friends, tell everyone, and we'll see you next week. Tweet us, ELR Comfortably, Facebook us, ELR Comfortably, go to elrcomfortably.co.uk.
Join us next week for another thrilling episode of Are You Sitting Comfortably?